Lesson 4, Incorporating Similarities and Differences in Teaching. Here are some specific examples of student similarities and how to incorporate them into teaching. Keep in mind that that ways to incorporate similarities are not limited to the ones listed. These are just some ideas so that as a teacher, you will know what to look for in similarities and what to look for and how to incorporate them in your classroom. One example is, well, students in your classroom will all be in the same developmental stage. So clearly, teach content appropriate to understanding. You're not going to teach your first graders algebra. So know the developmental stages of your students and teach material that they will understand and teach it in a way that they will understand. Also, understand the behaviors that accompany this stage. Plan lessons around this and manage your classroom according to this. Associate with students based on this as well. Monitor your interactions between students and how you manage your classroom based on the developmental stage of the students that you are teaching. Another similarity is that students all live in the same region. This is the way that you can create connections between students in your class. You can relate the content you are teaching to the region that is specific to your school. This will help students relate to each other and create a culture of acceptance in the classroom. Another similarity is students are all trying to learn the same thing. This is in a sense, it's the great equalizer, meaning that no matter where students came from or what they're planning on doing after school, they are in that classroom to learn the same thing. Use this to create similarities among your students. Talk to them about the content and have them talk to each other about the content and form similarities based on the fact that they are all learning the same thing. Make sure that because they're all learning the same thing, you teach them all the same, meaning you can vary the styles that you teach, but when you teach as a class, you teach the same. It will be easier if you do this. And also remember that while you teach classes as a whole, you still can teach individual students, but that goes along with varying your approach. Another, once again, going to creating similarities with rules that we discussed in lesson 3, rules and procedures, are have clear expectations for students. If students know what is expected of them as a whole class, they will be able to connect and create similarities with each other based on these expectations, and it will be easier for you to manage the class when you have the same expectations for each student. Treat all students fairly. Do not create differences because you treat students differently. Create students fairly in the teach students fairly in your treatment that you give them, with consequences and reprimands and feedback that you give. Get to know your students. In order to teach students effectively to the way that they best will be able to learn, make sure you get to know your students and have them get to know each other. Also, have class discussions. As classes discuss, they will notice differences in other students' viewpoints and also similarities. Drawing attention to student differences and similarities is an excellent way to create a classroom community.